What's up, everyone, and welcome into this edition. Happy Friday, Funday edition of the Ryan Ripken Show. I'm Zach Bollinger. I'll be your host for today, as Ryan had prior obligations, but the show must go on. We still got some things to talk about. We're talking Ravens, Steelers this weekend for the AFC North. We're going to revisit some messages that Nick Moore had for us on Tuesday to talk about the season, but more importantly, how it's all right in front of them, to quote Aaron Boone. Then we're going to move on to a little baseball before we, before we have some fun. Talking Ranger Suarez, foul territory gave maybe a best case landing spot for the ace. We're going to react to that and see what they have to say. And then going to play this by ear. Going to just be completely transparent with you all. There's a chance Nick Moore joins. There's a chance he doesn't. I know just about as much as you guys do. I'm going to find out if he's joining when I see him pop up behind the scenes with the rest of you. But Nick Moore may join. And then if we got some time at the end, maybe for a little fun, I saw some people asking about why don't we play a game or something? It's a Friday. It's Funday. It's the first Friday of the new year. So maybe we'll try to fill out an immaculate grid together. We're going to play all this by ear, but wanted to first, before we get into anything, shout out our friends at Merit Clubs. Visit meritclubs.com for so many great New Year's deals as you, New Year's resolutions. We're all trying to get in shape. We all, to be honest, lie to ourselves a little bit. So stay on course. Commit this year. Go to meritclubs.com for more information and shout out them as well. But let's get into it, and we're going to start with the elephant in the room. The Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers face off in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football this weekend, and the winner takes the AFC North. One final spot in the AFC is still up for grabs, and it will be decided in Pittsburgh between the Ravens and the Steelers. But the big news is TJ Watt, Lamar Jackson. We got official word today. Ravens put out their injury report, and you see Lamar Jackson with 3 full days. That is the first full week of practice Lamar has had since all the way back in November with the Vikings game. So it's been a minute, but Lamar Jackson is okay. So we are going to get Nick. Lamar Jackson will be playing this weekend. The 2-time MVP has said he's good to go yesterday, and now the injury report shows it as well. I also saw, TJ Watt, he may be on a snap count, but TJ Watt is good to go. He said he's ready. So both teams get their star players back. TJ Watt, honestly, has struggled a little recently, especially against Roger Rosengarten. But TJ Watt, as dangerous as an edge rusher, as a pass rusher, as there is. So going to be a gritty AFC North football game. It's Ravens Steelers. It's the best rivalry in football, maybe one of the best rivalries in all of sports when you talk about some of the contests that these guys have had against each other. But when it comes to this season, it's really funny because when they started 1-5, when they then cut to all the way down to just 2 weeks ago, they lose to the Patriots. Lamar goes down. It feels like the season is over. At so many points this year, it felt like the season was over. But here they are. It's right there. Sunday night, an opportunity to win the AFC North, to get in the dance. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for is a ticket to the dance. So Nick Moore was on with us with Jordan Stout, punter of the Ravens, on Tuesday. And Nick talked a little bit about this season and kind of the mindset going into the rest of the way.
The best ball we could have played. And You know, we
Really?
obviously made a ton of mistakes throughout the course of the season, but at the end of the day, Rip, we had a goal set in August and we wanted to win the division.
Uh-huh.
And after all the stuff that we've been through,
Mhm.
we're right here, right now.
You've got a
One more
chance.
game to get there, win the division like we set out to do, get ourselves in the playoffs. And then once you get in the playoffs, Rib, you know anything can happen in the playoffs, baby. One game at a time, 1 week at a time.
One game at a time, 1 week at a time. And he said it perfectly there. At the beginning of the year, the goal was to win the AFC North. And it was not pretty. It was not the way they had hoped. But this weekend, the Baltimore Ravens have an opportunity to go out there and do exactly what they set forth at the beginning of August, at the beginning of July, when they showed up to training camp. The goal was to get to the playoffs, was to win the AFC North. And no matter how many ups and downs, because trust me, it has not been a fun season. It's been a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of frustrations. He talked about it like they have not played up to their standard. But at the end of the day, they have a chance. And that's all that matters, is they have a chance to win the AFC North. So we're going to talk a little bit more football once Nick joins us in just a few minutes. But because, you know, it's just me and I want to talk about a little bit Orioles baseball while we got time today, I did want to quickly move over to baseball. Going to throw it a little out of order with Nick now joining in a bit. But earlier on Foul Territory, they talked about Ranger Suarez, and it was their hot corner. And where did they think the best landing spot for Ranger Suarez was? Where was the best case for him? Where do they think he ends up? Well, the guys on Foul Territory gave their predictions just a little bit ago. So we're going to listen to that and then react to it on the other side.
Really setting up for them to get Ranger Suarez. I guess I'm really pushing that forward. But what have we always said about Ranger Suarez? 130, 140 innings. He's going to spend a little bit of time on the IL, and then he's going to ball out in the playoffs. That's what he's done in his career, and that's what you're paying for in free agency. So what the Orioles think that's worth, you know what it's worth? Let's get some other guys around him. Let's get some other guys to, if he can only make 25 of his starts, how can we subsidize those other 7 starts? The issue, if you don't get a Ranger Suarez, and you do, and I love a Nick Martinez. I would like that signing too, because I think he goes out there and gives you that Swiss Army knife kind of pitcher. The issue is you're leaning on a guy like Bradish to say, you have to make your 32 starts. You have to be the guy you were before you got hurt. That's tough, and I think that can put too much pressure on a guy to fight through the issues that some pitchers have coming back from Tommy John surgery. I know he came back at the end of the year and he pitched really, really well. I just would like a little softer landing with a guy in the rotation like a Ranger Suarez. I think it vaults the Orioles to a new level if you have a Ranger Suarez, Trevor Rogers, and a Kyle Bradish. Because of then those other pieces, Shane Baz, you have Eflin, and then you're able to mix in Tyler Rose. You're able to mix in just other guys, and you have more of like a 7-man rotation that looks really clear going into the playoffs, because one of those top 3 guys falter. Now one of those other 3 guys steps up and is that guy coming into playoff time. And Zach Eflin, he doesn't need, in my opinion, he doesn't need to apologize for what he did with the Orioles. If you look back when he got traded over, the 9 starts he made in 24, he was lights out. So there's clearly a track record of them liking him and him liking Baltimore. And to me, I think they're going to get closer to the 2024 guy they traded for than what happened in 25.
So a lot to discuss there. Obviously, Kratz saying, hey, the Orioles, if we want a quote-unquote soft landing spot for Suarez, thinks the Orioles make a lot of sense, and I have to agree with a lot of his points. This is a guy that, yes, is going to spend some time or has spent some time on the IL pretty much every season. You're going to get 140, 150 innings from him, but there most likely will be some time missed. But he talked about the depth of this rotation, especially if you have him join. You have Kramer, you have Wells, you have Eflin, you have Boz, you have Rogers, you have Bradish, and you have Suarez. That is a rotation. While I don't agree that you go with a 7-man rotation by any means, I think it's just the depth he's discussing that really intrigues me, because it's true. If you are looking at what the Dodgers did last year, they had 17 guys start for them. You are going to need pitching. And I agree with him at the end about Zach Eflin. I think he is going to be healthy and closer to what he was when he had, I believe, a 2.6 ERA with the Orioles after being traded or acquired in 2024. I just believe that a move for a guy like Ranger Suarez, and if there's going to be a move, I'd expect it to be within maybe the next week or so. We talked about it before, November, December, guys are, they want to sign, they want to get things organized, they want to know where they're going, they want to get a deal done, all of that. But now in January, we're a month away from spring training. Pitchers and catchers report, I believe it's in like 6 weeks. So it's starting to get to the point where guys need to start signing. I think we see something happen with a Valdez, with a Gallen, with a Suarez sooner rather than later. But with Suarez in particular, he talked about Kyle Bradish. You don't know what Rogers is going to replicate. Obviously, you don't expect a 1.8 ERA like last year. So when you look at the whole picture of the rotation, if you add a Suarez, it does have a perfect fit feel for a guy like Suarez to come and join a rotation where he doesn't necessarily even have to be the guy, but then neither does Bradish, neither does Rogers. You have a group of individuals that are all trying to, kind of bounce back in some way, kind of avoid, injuries, things like that. But the depth that Baltimore has allows you, okay, Suarez misses 2 weeks in the middle of August. Okay, you have Dean Kramer, you have Zach Eflin, you have Shane Baz, you have Tyler Wells there that can still step in and get the job done at a high level, because the goal of 2026, so crazy to think we're already in 2026, the goal of the 2026 Baltimore Orioles has to be to go compete for the AL East and compete for an AL pennant and compete for a World Series. That's why you signed Pete Alonso to a 5-year deal. That's why you traded for Andrew Kittredge back. That's why you went out and got Ryan Helsley. That's why he traded for Taylor Ward. That's why he traded for Shane Baz. They need guys that can go out there, and we talk about reliability all the time as well. Yes, Suarez, he's going to give you 150, might miss some time, but when he goes out there, you know what you're going to get. He's also a guy, I believe he has like a 1.8 ERA in the postseason. So it's a guy, it's a playoff performer. He rises in the big moments, and he is a guy that in game 2 of a playoff series, game 3 of a playoff series, heck, game 1 of a playoff series, you are comfortable handing him the ball, being like, okay, he can get the job done. He's going to go out there and put his best foot forward and give us an opportunity to win this playoff game. I know there are a lot of concerns about, okay, his velo. He sits 92 to 90, and it's gone down a tick each year. Maybe I'm not as concerned as others are with it, but to be honest, it's because he knows how to pitch. I would almost be more concerned if he was a guy throwing 97, 98, and now suddenly it was 95, 96, because that's a guy, if you're throwing a hundo, you're hoping that, okay, my heat is going to beat you. Ranger Suarez has never had that. He's always had to be a pitcher. He had to get weak contact. He had to nibble on the corners. He couldn't leave anything up there. He had to pitch and not throw. So personally, I'm not as worried about where is the velo dip going to bring his value. It's maybe it becomes a problem, but for me at this moment, if he's still hitting 90, 91 with his ability to pitch, with him using his off-speed stuff, that's more important to me. If he was throwing like 99, 100, and then he's fallen off to, 96, 97, then I think there's a conversation. Then I think there's concern of, okay, if his fastball keeps dipping, can he still get out? Is he still as good? Is he still as dominant? I don't see that with these guys, with this group with Suarez. I think it's a lot of guys that you can rely on because, yeah, Bradish can get up there. Obviously, Boz, big arm, can throw a hundo, but you have those guys. It's not like you lack flamethrowers. I think if you get a guy like Suarez, a lefty that just knows how to get outs, let me pull up his stats real fast because, I mean, you look at this, 2025, he had a 3.2 ERA across 157 innings. He has pitched in 150 innings or more in 3 of the last 4 years. So, yes, it isn't a guy that, I know people are always like, oh, we need a guy to pitch 30 times. We need this big name, he's got to pitch 200 innings. I would love it if he did, but, when you see this, oh, he's injury prone, stuff like that, he's still giving you might miss a game or two here and there. But if he's giving you 157 innings, that's something. He still started 26 games last year, 27 the year before, 22 the year before, and 29 the year before that. So 26 or more starts in 3 of the last 4 years. And the 1 year he had 22. It's not like, knock on wood, it's not like he goes out there and he's missing half the season and he's struggling to get to 100 innings. He's struggling to get to 90 innings. He can't get over half a year of work. He's not getting to 15 innings or 15 outings. This is a guy that he is, quote unquote, dealing with injuries. He has dealt with injuries, I should say. But at the same time, he is a guy that you can rely on for 150 innings. I think it takes some pressure off Bradish. It takes some pressure off Rogers, off Boz. And I think it does allow this depth that you have with Eflin, with Kramer, with Wells to take over in a situation where, okay, Suarez misses a few weeks. He misses 4 starts. Well, I'm feeling confident that in those 4 starts, Tyler Wells or Kramer or, Eflin, whatever it may be, can step in and give you a quality start and allow you to win, allow you the opportunity to win. So it's going to be super intriguing to see how it all plays out, where these guys sign, and honestly, when they sign. We talked about before. I thought the Imai signing, that deal finally getting done. I mean, it would have been past his posting window by now, passed at 5:00 p.m. today, but signed yesterday, 3-year deal. And it really felt like that humbled the market. We talked about it yesterday, Ryan and I, and I'm going to kind of regurgitate it today. I think that really put okay, let's take the 4 or 5-year deal. We're not getting 7. I think it kind of reiterates to these guys, to their agents, Scott Boras, that, hey, Dylan Cease getting 7 years was the outlier, not the standard. Michael King gets 3. Imai gets 3. You are going to get closer to 4 to 5 years, and that's what teams are going to give you. There are rumors that the Orioles, I've seen, have a deal out for Suarez, potentially have a deal out for Valdez. The Orioles are going to be aggressive. I think they land one of those 2. You can pick your preference. Obviously, Valdez, he's been consistent. I think he has the most starts over the last 7 years in all baseball. He's a proven winner. Obviously, there's maybe some clubhouse things that you want to figure out what happened, and the Orioles will get down to the bottom of that if they do make a move to sign Valdez. But overall, I think we start seeing these guys fly off the board sooner. I think in the next week or 2, probably 2 have signed. We'll see what happens, obviously, if they sign with the Orioles, but there are also so many other free agents, and especially that impact the AL East when you're talking about the Orioles needing to be aggressive. Because if you look at the teams right now, there are some solid teams, but the Blue Jays are all in on getting Kyle Tucker. They want Bo Bichette back, but they're looking at Kyle Tucker. The Red Sox, what's going to happen with Bregman? Can they make a move for Ketel Marte? The Yankees, they got to figure out Bellinger. They've now missed on Imai. They've missed on all these guys. So it's what happens there. Are they going to go make a move for a starting pitcher while using their depth in their farm system? The Rays, the Rays have been aggressive in the trade market. They're getting rid of guys. They obviously have been very I guess, vocal in the media. Well, I guess they've been very well known to be involved in the Ketel Marte trade market. So we're going to see what happens. I think now that's the new year. Maybe something happens this weekend, maybe not. But I think the new year, I think teams want these guys to sign. They're going to grow a little impatient. They're going to be like, hey, we want to know what our roster looks like. We want to know what the outlook of this team is going to look like. We need to know an answer. And these guys, especially pitchers, especially, even position players, they want to know where they're at. They got to get housing figured out. Like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well, just besides you're going to this city. It's okay. Where are we going to live? Figuring all that out. Okay. Where's spring training? How am I going to do that? All this. I mean, spring training is approaching quickly. When does pitchers and catchers report in 38 days? So at least we're almost a month away. Yeah, and if Judge gets injured, the Yankees are done for. I think offensively at this moment, their outlook, yes, they are an older team. I think Aaron Judge is obviously he's Aaron Judge. He's the best hitter in baseball, in my opinion. But that pitching staff is what really is going to be their bread and butter. Carlos Rodon, you get Garrett Cole back, Max Free, Cam Schittler, Will Warren. I'm missing somebody, and it's now going to annoy me. Luis Heel. Like they have a good pitching staff. They're back into the bullpen. Doval, I think, has a bounce back. David Bednar had a very nice ending to the Yankees season. But I agree. If they offensively, I know they're even shopping on Jazz. I know they've now checked in on Bo Bichette. So I think there's going to be a lot more motion, a lot more movement happening in the AL East. So these guys, you have to go out there. You have to be aggressive if you're the Orioles. Go get Valdez. Go get Suarez. I think one of the two lands in Baltimore. If I had to be a betting man, I'd probably say it's Suarez. But we'll see what happens. And if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Happy Friday. A little different today with Ryan with prior commitments, but I wanted to hop on, do a quick little show here so we can be live at 5 every day. Actually, I guess we weren't every day this week. Hand up, that's us. But live at 5 weekdays right here on the Ryan Ripken Show channel. Just waiting for Nick Moore. It's going to be a little shorter show today, just with it being Friday. And honestly, thankfully, Foul Territory put out that stuff about about the Orioles, because if that didn't happen, I'm not sure what else. I mean, it is a slow day. That's for sure. So, like I said, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to get into a little bit more with the Ravens once Nick Moore joins. But here, since we have a little bit more time than I thought until he joins, and Ryan had prior commitments, so he could not make it today, but we'll see what happens We'll see when he's able to. I don't think he's popping on today, but he'll be back on Monday. This is need to sign. He has until the 5th? I think he has to sign before Monday at 5 p.m. So he's another guy. He's going to – I think I've seen the Pirates are out, but so many teams, I don't think the White Sox need him. Obviously, I know the Giants are involved on that. Yeah, he's going to be another domino. I mean, this Japanese market is going to slowly disintegrate just as posting periods, signing periods end. I think Okamoto, I think he's the last one. So then maybe teams that are focused on that, trying to get that done as quickly as possible, I think then I think it's holding up the market, because teams that know the clock is ticking there, they're going to be focused on that. So once he signs, hopefully, especially the third base market with Bregman, obviously Bichette being now a second baseman, people want to move him off of shortstop. We'll see as how that is impacted. And yeah, Keith, I like this. If you're in the chat, give us your prediction for the Ravens game. He's saying 34-20 Ravens. Man, I would if I think the Ravens win. I would love for it to be a 14-point win. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. I think Ravens win, I'll say 20-13. 2013, maybe 20-17. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. Nick Moore talked about it earlier this week. He's like, yeah, we know it's going to be a very sloppy, it's usually cold. It's always windy. You got to deal with the conditions. I mean, late at night, it's just going to be a street fight. It's going to be a dog fight. All these guys fighting for every single yard. So it's going to be a good game. I'm seeing, let's see, 21-20 Ravens. I don't know if my heart could take that, but oof. Oh, Steve, I like it. Ravens 28, Steelers 21. Obviously based out of Baltimore, so I assume is it supposed to? I've not even checked. Is it supposed to be? I now I gotta look at Pittsburgh. Are we? If it's snowing in Pittsburgh, that's. I don't know if that helps or hurts. Usually, if it's going to be a sloppy game, I'm like, okay, that helps the Ravens. Let's get Derrick Henry going. But I mean, no DK Metcalf for the Steelers. It would be really intriguing to see. Be really intriguing to see how that impacts Lamar versus Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Although Rodgers, he played in Green Bay for his, majority of his career. So it's funny. He talks about it all the time. He's a Cali boy, and he's like, I don't like the cold. I don't enjoy that. So I would love for it to impact it. But we'll see. I expect Aaron Rodgers to be at his best, to be one of the reasons that the Steelers stay in it. But it's Ravens Steelers. I don't expect this to be a clean game. I don't expect I'm sure maybe it's because I'm just wired that way after the season. I'm expecting at least one just back-breaking turnover from the Ravens. It feels like we talked about with Joey Molinaro on Tuesday. It's like last year you had the Derrick Henry fumble early on. You had the Isaiah Likely fumble right before half. It's just weird things always happen. Ravens versus Steelers. So just hopefully they can find a way to come out on top. That's all they need to do. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just find a way to win. What would be more surprising? Orioles sign Tucker or Bellinger? I don't think a big bat is out of the question, even if we sign Ranger. I don't know if either of these two make it, just because I think the Orioles feel set in the outfield. And it's such a crowded outfield. If you add Bellinger or Tucker, okay, you also now have Beavers, you have Kowser, you have Leody Taveras, you have Taylor Ward, you have Tyler O'Neill still. Did I say Dylan Beavers? It just I don't know where one of them fits unless you are planning on trading one of these outfielders for a starting pitcher. I don't see them doing both, meaning Ranger plus Tucker or Bellinger. If they were to sign somehow Bellinger or Tucker, I think you'd immediately go to the trade market and try to use the Kowser or Beavers or the surplus of outfield talent to acquire an arm that way. We still have to figure out what's going to happen with guys like Ryan Mountcastle. Is Kobe Mayo? They love his upside. I think Kobe Mayo is going to be an absolute baller. But is there a spot for these guys on the team? I don't think there's definitely not a spot for 3 first basemen, especially 3 right-handed power hitting first baseman. So we're going to have to see what happens there. And just overall, what the trade market looks like, because I still think they need to make a move for a back end ish guy, someone who can be in the 8th inning, someone like a JoJo Romero down in St. Louis. So instead of, do you maybe sign a Tucker or Bellinger to that big deal? But for them, I mean, both of them are looking for 7-8 year deals. I mean, heck, we know Tucker was originally looking like he wanted to get 10 years, 400. So I wouldn't say it's out of the question. I just don't think, I think Pete Alonso and Taylor Ward were their 2 additions to the lineup that they really like. Obviously a full season of Sam Basayo, Dylan Beavers. We'll see what Jeremiah Jackson is like, hopefully as a utility role. I just personally, I don't see them signing a guy like Bellinger or Tucker just because the lineup seems, I don't want to say full, but it seems full. I guess I will say full. I'm not sure where the room is if they were to sign a big name bat. I think the guy was Pete Alonso. That's a good question. Mike Schilt. I'm not sure. He's a guy that he is obviously a great baseball mind, just was stepped down as the manager of the Padres after leading them to the postseason. I think he is going to be a guy that gets heavily leaned on by Albernaz and them. I'm not sure what his role is going to be or how big of a role it's going to be, but I definitely think that he is going to have an impact. He's going to be a guy that hopefully has his hands, especially on spring training, for these guys to lean on. I think he's going to be a big addition. I really do. I see who's the third catcher, and I see a few people have said Taylor Ward. It all depends on how the Orioles view this. Yes, Taylor Ward does have catching experience, and he can be your emergency catcher. And if the Orioles plan on, hey, we don't plan on, it depends on what they value. If they don't think Ward can be a good emergency catcher, and that's the only thing it would be. Like Taylor Ward would never start at catcher. It would be if Adley and Basayo are DHing, something happens, and now suddenly you don't want to lose the DH spot, but you put Taylor Ward in there to finish off a game. It depends if they want to take that risk or if they want to, because if you decide Taylor Ward's your third catcher, he's your emergency catcher, then from there, I think it frees up a roster spot. You no longer have to, I don't want to say waste a spot on a third catcher, because Austin Jackson, I mean, Mr. Extra Base Hit, he was serviceable last year, but I think it allows you to do a lot more. It allows you to maybe you keep a Jeremiah Jackson or Leody Taveras when one of them before probably has to start in the minors. So we'll see what happens, but I would not be shocked if, part of the reason they liked Ward is, well, one, he had 103 RBIs last year. He had 30 plus jacks. Yeah. So, and Tom, I hope, I mean, I would, I would love for it to happen ASAP. I do think the Orioles make a big signing, though. I still think, they apparently have deals out for both Ranger and Valdez. We'll see if one of them accepts. I'm sure negotiations, especially after Imai, are still ongoing. I'm sure they are adjusting offers, but we have heard the rumors, if you've seen them out there, that, yeah, they do have offers out for both of them. I know that they are involved in both, but we're going to see what happens. I think, like I said, the new year coming, the new year starting, I think obviously the Imai thing he had to sign, but I think you're just going to see a lot more teams. The tempo is going to build up. There's going to be some more urgency. They want these guys to sign. Agents want these guys. I mean, we saw a few years ago the whole thing with Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, Jordan Montgomery, JD Martinez. I think you saw the downside, especially for the pitchers. I mean, Snell and Montgomery were atrocious to start the years that year. Pitchers don't want to do that. Pitchers don't want to sign late. So I would say within the next week or two, I think probably we see two of or all three of Ranger, of Valdez, or Gallen kind of go off the board. Hopefully one of them to Baltimore. Because that would be cool. I think that really completes the team. So if they're able to get that done, then I think it puts the Orioles. We've already seen. I think Buster Olney. Let me find this real fast. Hold tight. Yeah, Buster Olney had a. Let's talk about this because I guess these are predictions from ESPN writers or something. And here was Buster Olney's, because I think this is really intriguing. The bold pick: the Baltimore Orioles will win the 2026 World Series. The Orioles finished last in the AL East in 2025, but their 75 wins were the most for fifth place entrants. Since then, the franchise added a crew of veterans around their young core, including Pete Alonso, Taylor Ward, Shane Baz, Zach Eflin, and Ryan Helsley. Gunnar Henderson should return to his 2024 form. Trevor Rogers may continue with his 2025 form. Top prospect Samuel Basallo will be a breakout star. The Orioles aren't messing around, and don't be surprised when Jackson Holliday becomes a legit AL All-Star and he makes a 30-30 run. Eric Carabell with that there. I mean, hey, you don't gotta talk me into it. You don't have to ask me twice. I would love absolutely all of this. You get, I think the biggest one is Jackson Holliday becoming a 30-30 guy. I mean, I think the power's there. I think the speed's there. I mean, what he got? Last season, 17 homers. How many stolen bases did he have last year? 17. So what? He doubles each. I think this is a big breakout year for Jackson. I really do. I think with Albernaz and all of that, I think Jackson is a massive candidate to be a breakout star. I think putting it all together, being more comfortable with himself, and also, like, I think we all forget sometimes. Jackson's what, 22? Yeah, 22 years old. I mean, the kid is just kid has all the potential in the world. And I mean, hey, look at Toronto. Yeah, Texas, but Toronto in your own division. Worst to first and represent the AL in the World Series. They're a few pitches away from hoisting the World Series. Yeah, and I mean the boost from Jackson just simply knowing the strike zone. Yeah. Steve, I agree. If Adley can get back to that 23-24 numbers with Alonso and Ward in the lineup, the Orioles need to score runs. That's why they got Alonso, and that's why they got Ward. When you combine them, that's 229 RBIs added. That's like, I think, 80 home runs. What is that? Close to 80 home runs added, like 75 to the lineup. I think Gunnar takes a step forward because he finally has protection. You know, I've talked about it here, but I think Gunnar finally having a guy behind him that's going to protect him, that's going to be like, okay, we can't just walk Gunnar because you got Pete Alonso behind him. And if you get Gunnar on base, you know, Gunnar protects Westy protects Holliday. You have Ward behind Alonso, or you have Basallo or Adley behind Alonso. It just feels like this team, the depth of this lineup, you finally have a bunch of guys protecting each other, and it's going to be fun. And I love this bold prediction. At least 4 players have 25 homers or more. Off the top of my head, I think you can pencil in Alonso and Gunnar for that. I know Gunnar did not have a good homer season last year. I think you pencil in Gunnar and Alonso for that. think Taylor Ward, he's another guy. Hits 25 homers after hitting 35 plus last year. What was it? 36, 34. Think he's another guy you can kind of pencil in for 25. And listen, I know people don't want to hear it. Obviously, you can put Basayo. You can say, oh, Westy takes that step. Colton Cowser's a guy who, if he gets a hold of it, he hits a lot of home runs. So I also think a guy like Tyler O'Neill, if Tyler O'Neill is healthy, if he plays in 120 games, I think he hits 25. I think he gets close to 30. So it's all about health for most of these guys. If the Orioles can stay healthy this year, I think, yeah, 4 guys can hit 25 plus home runs. I don't think it's ridiculous to say that. I don't think it's out of the realm, especially with the potential that this team has and the players have. Yeah, and that right here, that's what, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 6 guys that can all have 20, 25 plus power. They have that potential. It's just whether or not, they have the protection and if they can stay healthy. If the Orioles stay healthy in 2025, it's going to be a scary season for a lot of teams, because I think that team, is going to be good. They're hungry. They have, I think, the right culture being addressed with Albernaz in the team, leading the team now. I think they have this aggressive mindset, especially if they're able to go out there and nab a Ranger Suarez. I mean, the message to the team is we're competing. There is no more like, this is liftoff. We all joked about this is liftoff. This is the new era, whatever you want to call it. The Orioles are doing what the Orioles said they were going to do. And so far, I think it's going to instill a lot of confidence in this squad. I think it's going to give them the ability to be aggressive, even at the deadline. I think if you're filled out your team with these veterans, with these more long-term deals, prospects, while being nice, if, it comes to July, if you're winning the AL East, you're a few games out of the AL East, you have a wild card spot. I think it's easy to say, okay, we have some guys that don't have spots down the line. So now your prospects, we always say, let your prospects work for you. I think Shane Baz is, the perfect example. I think he is a high upside guy for the next few years that, if all goes well, yes, the Orioles gave up talent for him, but that is a guy that can be as Elias said, and as others have said on MLB Network, on Foul Territory, all those shows, this is a guy with the potential to be another number one. It's all about staying healthy. That's the biggest thing, is it's all about staying healthy. And then the rest will go from there. If you stay healthy, they have the depth. You have to assume that someone is going to unfortunately deal with something, whether that's injury, whether that's soreness. Guys are going to miss games. But I think the Orioles, not only this year do they have the frontline talent, I think they've gotten more frontline talent with Pete, with Ryan Helsley back there. If they add a Suarez, the potential of Baz, getting Bradish back, which in and of itself is a massive win. Getting Tyler Wells back, who in 2023, I think people forget, was the best pitcher on the staff to start the year. So there's going to be a lot of things to kind of go throughout the next few weeks. I think the hot seat, the hot stove for the baseball offseason is just getting started. I think this is a team that's going to be aggressive. I think this is a market that is going to dry up fast, because players want to know where they're going. They want to get to where they're going. And teams want to get this stuff ready so they know what their team looks like, where the holes are, because, hey, Suarez and Valdez go elsewhere. The Orioles have to pivot. Orioles have to pivot and find something else. And other teams are in the exact same boat. I mean, you look at the Red Sox. If they don't get Bregman, they have to pivot. If Bregman goes out to the Diamondbacks, Red Sox are screwed. They have to pivot. Does that mean Bichette? Okay, if they miss out on Tucker, is Bichette able to come back? Do they just get Bichette and Tucker? Can they afford that? It's just, I feel like we're going to see a lot of things happen over the next few weeks. But if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We will be going through it all as it happens on the Ryan Ripken Show channel. And Kevin and Zach React, your home for all breaking news, Orioles reactions, and Ravens as well. Don't think we're going to be able to get Nick Moore on here anymore. So we will have to save that for next time. But the Baltimore Ravens have a massive game this Sunday. Ravens Steelers for the AFC North. If you would have told us this at 1-5, we would have taken it in a heartbeat. Oh, Ravens have the chance to win the division week 18. Wasn't pretty how they got here. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of help from other teams. Thank you, Cleveland. Never thought I'd say that, but thank you, Cleveland. And at the end of the day, like Nick Moore said, when they set out to start the season in August, their goal was to win the AFC North. And that's what they have an opportunity to do on Sunday in Pittsburgh on primetime. Ravens are what, 0-4 on primetime this year? Might as well go 1-4. The best part about being 0-4 is the opportunity to go 1-4? Make it happen. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be easy. Just find a way to win. 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson will be leading the guys once again. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Ryan Ripken Show. A little Friday fun day. Talk some Orioles, talk some Ravens. But appreciate all of you. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out if you have not already. Appreciate all of you. And one last thing, how many wins do you think? I think it takes, I said before, I would not be surprised if 93 wins the AL East, because I think these teams are going to beat up on each other. I think how you perform outside the AL East is going to be very important this year, because there's going to be 4 to 5 really good teams. It depends on what the Rays do. If they get Marte, if they're able to bounce back. But there's going to be a lot of teams fighting for it. I would not be surprised if 93 wins, 94 wins. I don't think it's going to be 100 to win the East. And oh my goodness. All right. Well, this guy. All right. Real fast before you get out of here, we got Ravens long snapper Nick Moore,
Hey,
Georgia
we're in the
Bulldog,
building, baby. I'm not Georgia Bulldog today. All right, they let me down last night. They hurt my feelings. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I'm a little sensitive right now.
Yeah, a little sensitive.
Right.
Well, Nick, obviously, like you brought up, wasn't the greatest day yesterday.
No. Tavius Robinson already let me know this morning.
Oh, I'm sure that was
He
rough.
got me. Yeah, he got me good this morning. It hurts, man. I stayed up all night for that. I watched the whole thing. I've never been more disappointed in my life. I'll be honest. That one hurt.
Nick, I thought you guys were starting to run away with it. Halftime, it looked like another Georgia game.
Yeah, I almost turned it off after they went for it on 4th down. I was texting with some of my buddies, and I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm turning it off. And then they got to stop, and I was like, all right, I'm back. I'll watch the rest. And then they were going down, and I'm like, oh, we got this. We're going to score. And then when it was that 3rd down, man, look, I'm not a coach. I've never been a coach, especially at the college level. Mm-hmm. I don't want to question anybody's decision-making, but you just got to think that passing the ball on 3rd and short, 3rd and 6, 3rd and goal from the 6, with 50-something seconds left, no timeouts for the other team. You got 3. All you need is a field goal to tie. I got to think you try to run the ball, right? And just burn. Like, if you score,
worst
great,
case,
you win. If you don't, great. You still have 3 timeouts. You call the timeout, you hit a short field goal, and it's tied with no time, and you go to overtime, and you take your chances. I didn't love the call. But again, I'm not a coach. And I know Kirby's a great coach, and Bobo's a great coordinator, and they've had a lot of success over there. But you just got to think that it wasn't the smartest play, in my opinion, and that's my opinion only.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of things that agree with you there. I think and then you can talk defensively, one high press, and
that's aggressive. That's aggressive.
It was aggressive, that's for sure.
That's what they do. They play aggressive. Kirby's an aggressive coach. They had the fake punt that they executed, and I knew they had that fake punt.
Was fun
because we always had fake punts up for excuse me, for big games. We were never successful. However, last night that was a good fake punt. That was a really good one.
It was good. Hey, it caught me off guard. I was sitting there.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, they're really punting this. And then both teams both teams had a fake punt, right?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah.
They
got to pull it all
theirs was
out.
not successful. But I mean, that's winter. I mean, it's literally win or go home. That's what I was. I was just over talking with Kevin, and that's what I was saying about tomorrow or Sunday's game. It's you never know what's going to come out, man. This is it. If you don't win, you can't save anything, because if you don't win, the season's over. So you have to. There's going to be some trickery. There's going to be some plays that have been in the back of the playbook that we haven't picked up in 3 years, or they're going to pull it out and they're going to try it, and you have to in these situations. And they fought hard, but at the end of the day, man, that was tough. That was a tough one to swallow there. I don't. I didn't love the ending. I was, and then it just dragged on. They just kept like
we had three. Stage was on 3 times.
Bro. Yeah, we're done. The game's over. Okay, let's get done.
I will never ever understand refs being like, I understand this second means absolutely nothing and this game's over, but we're putting it back on.
We're putting it back. And then the guy, I don't know if you were watching the main broadcast last night. But the rules analyst, I can't remember his name. But he was apparently one of the referees in the Cal Stanford game in the 80s with the band on the field. He was talking about how they made the mistake back in the day. And now he's like sympathetic to like, yeah, you got to put the 1 second back on. And then they did the onside kick. And then he's like, well, he was technically down when he fielded it, so the clock doesn't start because the play's over. Like he was like on all of that stuff. And I get it. You want to play it out, but like Kirby was already like, he had already shaken the Ole Miss coach hand. He was already like, all right, we're done. We're going home. And then it's just like, and then you give them a chance to score. And that last play was, Georgia hasn't run a lot of those must-have touchdowns from their own 30-yard line in the history of Georgia. So it was very poorly executed. And, that's just the way it goes. That's that's the great thing about college football, man. Like it's you love it, you hate it, whatever. I'm upset because I felt like Georgia's best team. They didn't play the best, man. The credit to the Ole Miss Rebels, as much as it hurts me to say. Okay. And I my uncle went to Mississippi State. I went to Georgia. We don't have a lot of love in my family for Ole Miss, but you got to give them credit where credit's due, man. That quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, that boy was balling.
Yeah,
that boy.
Talk
especially
about
in the
balling.
second half, bro. Goodness, that boy was balling. Now it was frustrating me, but that's just football, man. That's what the game's all about.
Yeah, and I guess we'll step into Sunday real fast before maybe we can you can announce anything that you have on your chest. So speaking of quarterbacks balling, Ravens get QB1 back. Said he's good to go for Sunday. What kind of confidence? What's that just mean for the team? You're going into a 1-game win or go home, and you got Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, stepping back on the field for you.
I mean, is there anybody else you want at the helm besides maybe Tom Brady? Like, I just think Lamar, I think all the stuff that he's dealt with this season, with injuries, with, the media coming after him, he hasn't, he didn't play his best football this year. And we're still in a position to win the AFC North for the 3rd consecutive year, to do it at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. Like, that's what you live for as a quarterback, for legacy building. This is one of those games that's going to be notched under your belt, that we fought through a lot of turmoil, a lot of bad, a lot of stuff went wrong this season, and we played just well enough to give ourselves a chance to fight to win the division and go to the playoffs. And when you get in the playoffs, man, you never know. You never know who's going to win. It's not about who the best team is. It's about who plays the best when it matters the most. And for us, man, I got nothing but confidence and trust. Watching practice this week, the boys out there slinging it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch him work, man. I'm excited. I want to see him cook, man. Him and 22 and all the guys on offense, man. Those boys, they're building off a really successful week last week. And I think adding in number 8 just adds another element to that. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and you talk about it like it's not only it's just getting in, but this is also for the division. So it's not like you're getting the 7 seed and you got to go on the road. You win this, you're hosting a playoff game. So so many people, so many analysts have said it. The Ravens, it's one of those teams where anything can happen. I mean,
Yep.
you have a 2-time MVP. It doesn't matter. You talked about it. The goal when you set out in August was to win the AFC North. It hasn't been pretty. It wasn't the
Nope.
path that maybe you thought it would be, but here you are, week 18 with an opportunity to win it and, complete your, at least the first goal of the season. So
That's what it's
to be
all about,
excited
man.
about.
It doesn't, I know like the fans and the media, they want it to be this spectacle just because Lamar has had so much success over the years with his MVPs and even last season with how, how great we were on offense and, all the accolades that the guys had last season. And sometimes it just doesn't go that way. And sometimes it's a hard fought, it's a up and down, battle the entire season, every single game. And I mean, I said this weeks ago, bro. We've been in playoff mode. We've been fight or flight since week 6, since the bye week, which was week 7 when we were 1-5. And we've had to win to get to where we're at. And we've done a lot of great things down, along the way. And we've done a lot of bad things along the way too. But to be in the position that we're in now, man, it's just, we couldn't ask for a better position to be in. It's exactly what we want. It's exactly where we wanted to be. And now all that's left is for us to go out there and get it done and play the way that we know that we're capable of playing and get this win on the road in Pittsburgh. What better place to play than Acrisure Stadium, man. It's gonna be cold, it's gonna be loud, there's gonna be terrible towels are gonna be everywhere. It's gonna be bonkers, man. I cannot wait.
It's going to be fun. Got a lot of fun on Sunday. Not as fun last night. But Nick, before we get out of here, because I know you got a lot going on. Anything happened today?
I got a lot, man. I don't know. The paperwork's officially in. I don't know if it's final. If I get in trouble for this, so what? It just is what it is. It's official with the league. That's all that matters. But I'm not leaving, boys. 4 years, 4-year extension for the kid. I'll be here until I'm an old man, I guess. I'll have by the end of my career, at the end of my time here, but locked in another 4-year extension and with the Ravens, and I couldn't be happier, man. My family and I, we've grown to love it here. We got our roots here. We got our kids in school here. This is the place that we wanted to be, and I'm just so thankful for Eric and his team, getting this deal done and trusting me and putting their faith in me that I'm going to be able to continue to produce at the level I've been producing at for the last 6 years and do the things. And I'm just so excited for the opportunity that I've been given, man. Couldn't be, huge, thankful for Mr. Bisciotti and Harbs and all the coaches that have gotten me here and all my teammates I've played with over the years. I wouldn't be here without him, and I couldn't be happier, man. I just after last night, my agent is one of my best friends. We went to college together. We played at Georgia together.
Yeah.
We're texting this morning, and we were like, man, 2026 is not our year, dude. Like we're 24 hours in. I already want to start over. I already want to redo on 2026. I haven't even started yet. And then I go to practice, and I get a text on my way in, or once I get in from practice, and he said, well, I guess 2026 is our year. It's like the Ravens called and they want to take your offer. And I was so thrilled, and I got the paperwork signed this morning and or this afternoon, and I'm locked in, man. I love it. It's I've dreamed about getting a contract like this my entire life. When I threw out in baseball and in college and in my early years in the NFL, man, it's something you dream of as a kid. And when you get to this moment, there's not a whole lot you can say, man. You're just happy. No matter what happens, you're just so happy and thankful. And I don't think I could possibly thank all the people I need to thank, but it's just one of the greatest things in the world. I'm so blessed that God's given me this opportunity for me and my family. So it's going to be fantastic. I mean, my oldest is going to be 7 years old when my contract's over. So
that's crazy
to think, man. So I'm so happy and so blessed.
Yeah, I mean, we are ecstatic for you. Could not be happier for you, your family, everything that's gone into this. Obviously, over the past few years since we first met and you were recovering from your Achilles to now, it's been such an awesome journey to watch. So super happy for you and everyone involved. And here's to 4 more years of Nick Moore
Heck yeah,
Baltimore
baby.
Raven.
Yeah. Hey, watch out, Baltimore. I'm here.
Here we go. Well, Nick, you go continue to celebrate. People in the comments are going nuts. Everyone loves you here. So
Thank
couldn't
you,
be
man.
happier that we got 4 more years. So Nick Moore, everyone, Baltimore Raven for the next 4 years.
Hell yeah,
Good
baby.
luck Sunday, my man.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much. See you, buddy.
Awesome. See ya. There it is. There it is. Appreciate Nick for coming on. He messaged us earlier today and just super ecstatic for him. But there it is, a little breaking news on the Ryan Ripken show. Nick Moore, 4 more years in Baltimore. Couldn't be happier for him and his family and all the work he has put in. But also just want to thank all of you for tuning in to this edition of the Ryan Ripken Show. We will be back on Monday at 5 o'clock, live at 5. Appreciate you all. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. Shout out to Merit Clubs for all they do for us and the community. That's going to do it. What a fun Friday. What a way to end a Friday fun day. We got breaking news, extension talk here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Go Ravens. Big game Sunday, and we will see you all right after or before then if we get some breaking news for another edition of the Ryan Ripken Show.